Welcome on back to the Proving Grounds, powered by Verizon. I'm Mazel, joined by Joshi and Rafa yet again for another little bit of a halftime segment. I guess it's not really halftime because we have 3 games potentially, but it's something like that.
Post-game.
It could be post-game, little bit of a skit series we have going. And today, my lovely gentlemen, it's going to be Who's That Proving Grounds Player?
Bum, bum, bum.
As we do have a little bit of nostalgia hit there as always, but it is going to be a little bit of trivia here for you all concerning players. So I'm going to have 2 players today. We're going to start off with our first one. I'm just going to talk some trivia about these players. You guys can comment, talk about the trivia all you want. At the end of all the trivia, you can go ahead and try and guess who it will be. So let's go ahead and bring up that graphic, show the wonderful silhouette that is not the player because we had to stop that. Thanks to Mark Z again. We're going to go ahead and start off now. So who's that player? So this player was actually playing Academy scrims at the start of the split. A little bit of behind the scenes knowledge there. When coming into this year and choosing a team, prioritized having a strong top laner on the team. Started competitive on Conviction in 2020.
Conviction.
And previously known as Jupiter.
Oh.
Had to get the second one in there.
Oh.
Wait, 2 names ago they used to be Jupiter?
So, what do you guys have as some guesses? Do you have any thoughts?
Can you what was the first fact?
So it was playing Academy scrims at the start of the split. So that gives it away a little bit. At least not a little. I guess it gives you more of a hint.
I feel like it has to be something on EGP, right?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
You know, as the team
No
that
way.
in fact has an Academy roster that they can immediately hook up with.
I don't know about you, Josh, but for some reason in my comms, Mazel's voice is like bass boosting when he beats.
no.
I'm like,
No,
yes. It's just,
You get the deepness.
I'm like, oh
So
my
do you
god.
guys have any guesses on who this player might be? I will go through them again. It's a little bit general.
I'm pretty
but,
sure I know because you said previously, right? So 2 names ago they used to be called Jupiter.
And they're
I'm
on
pretty sure
Conviction.
only one of these players, or I guess 2 of them have had like name changes that I know of. But my guess is that it's going to be Sketch because it used to be Sketch Dreams, and I don't feel like Leo would change after being Leo, then Leo 99, and then Leo again. So
Well, Mr. Man, you are
Let's
correct.
go.
We do have EGP's Sketch, also previously known as Sketch Dreams, previously known as Jupiter. I found that out from his Leaguepedia page.
let's go.
So yeah, you know, it's a little bit of a fun time being
Yeah,
able to get the behind the scenes knowledge as well. The getting to play Academy scrims at the start of the play. I think that's really interesting. Wanting to find a strong top laner at the beginning of the year for the team that he was choosing. I think it's always super interesting. But we're gonna move on to the second player because I know we are sparing for time and need to get back to the action. Next player is
Oh, this player looks just like Sketch.
this one's from behind the scenes. Yeah, I know they look exactly the same. Should we put plaster on there? Like, thanks, Mark Z. So we got this from behind the scenes from Kelsey, our lovely producer. This player was a Nashor's Mordekaiser advocate in 2020.
Dragoon.
He was one of those. Oh no! Jeez, stop it! All right, stop it. He's a Darius main, known to be very vocal against competition. And the first competitive team he played on was 12 Noobs Gaming in 2019. It is your boy. It is Dragoon from No Team.
As soon as
You're
I
supposed to
heard
wait.
As soon as I heard the Nashers Mordecai's, I'm like, oh, that's Kishan. That is the boy. Kishan, the Drip Lord Darius himself.
Honestly, like I was pretty sure it was Dragoon, and then you're like Darius part. I'm like, yep. That's him. That's the boy. Yeah.
Well, that was our little bit of Who's That Perfect Grounds player, putting a little bit of a step on them and being able to put a spotlight on them as well, Sketch and Dragoon. But we got to put a spotlight back on this series because EGP, one game away from sending No Team home. a disappointment on no team's account would be terrible in this kind of situation because of the promise behind this team, Joshi, and they've got to find a way to get back into it.
Yeah, it's definitely a position where you kind of have to root for Evil Geniuses at some point, right? If it's not for Evil Geniuses Academy, well, it's got to be Evil Geniuses Prodigies this time around. They can't lose 2 teams in one day. And now that the Civil War isn't even possible, I feel like EGP just looked cleaner in a lot of the team fights where there wasn't a very obvious setup from no team. It felt like EGP were able to overcome it almost every single time.
And I think, going into the draft for next game as well is going to be something crucial because can't give the cane to Perry, apparently. Don't want to be giving that over, but especially looking at the individual pieces, right? Griffin having that early triple kill there, the resets coming in aplenty, but it's not really mattering as he got further on into the game. And I think that's where you have to look for the turnaround for no team, Rafa.
It definitely felt like Griffin was trying to put the team on his back because in those clutch moments, it was like, all right, Scooped, no one's left. It's just you and me, buddy. We're going to go in together. We're going to, go out as a family. And somehow they turned around that clutch early game skirmish in that jungle quadrant. But a lot of those times when Griffin was trying to replicate that same success later on, EGP making those great adaptations and just kind of noting that conditioning and tendencies that Griffin was already showing. It's like, hey, Griffin's the one that feels the pressure to be the playmaker, right? Well, let's just be patient, wait out for the engage, and then look for the punish.
Yeah. I also feel like it's important to note that Griffin, this guy is 15. If I'm reading this correctly.
He's pretty damn good at
16?
League of Legends at
15, 16? Yeah, he is very, very young, right? The fact that even if he ends up going down today, I feel like we're going to see a whole lot more of him as the years go by. He's one of these players that I feel like if he has had this much of a performance in basically his rookie year, this is his first competitive team that he's ever played on. If we can continue to see that kind of pressure coming out from this player, we're going to definitely see him back next Proving Grounds, regardless of what the outcome is today.
But that's also where I think the biggest change can come from. And I think that's where the starkest difference can come from in this series for no team, right? We put a huge emphasis on Blaze at the beginning of the series in this mid lane as well with going against Leo. And I think if you get those pieces around Griffin functioning, it looks so much because Griffin does what Griffin does. And I think it's so important for them to find some comfort in those ways and find something of a priority in the solo lanes, especially.
Yeah, we can't really beat around the bush. They got outplayed this time. Leo definitely was looking a whole lot better than Blaze. And I mean, it's hard to outperform Faisal when he's got such crazy barrels, but even just during the laning phase, it felt like Faisal was slowly building up advantages over Dragoon. And I feel like if that's what we're going to be looking at for the rest of the tournament, or excuse me, for the rest of the series, it puts a lot of pressure on a jungler, especially for somebody who's so young, who might not have the same kind of a competitive experience as a lot of our other players who are used to being against the wall.
And no team are on the red side coming into this next game. So it opens up counterpick possibilities, not just for the solo lanes, but also potentially for the jungle, because this is one of the few teams where jungle counterpick can be very pivotal for someone like Griffin, who has been so damn important in a lot of their team's wins.
But I think that's the scariest part is we got to see Perry flex his muscles a little bit on the side of EGP, and I think as a whole EGP flexing themselves, and I want to look at that next game to hope for that turnaround, to hope for that kind of complete change from no team. But if you get a game like that, if you get some more comfort on EGP, it just feels like they have inherited the power of EGA and they have to make it forward.
And if we continue to see that, right, I feel like EGP will be one of these people or one of these teams that a lot of people can kind of look to as a new dark horse, right? Somebody that will continue to move forward despite the fact that we have our #1 seed and our #2 seed in the entire tournament listed as some people's dark horses thus far. Evil Genius Prodigy is definitely somebody that you can't ignore.
Yeah, well, it is all an exciting prospect, but it all comes down to the next few games, and especially for no team, this next game in particular, as we are ready for Champion Select. So Rafa and Joshi, let's see what happens, shall we?
Didn't give it to you this time, Mark.
It's okay.
Also,
I got it once. That's all I needed. Mazel forgot once, and that was all that it takes to claim a victory in the battle between host and play-by-play caster.
Ooh, is it a battle?
Well, it's kind
of like not a battle.
It's not a battle. It's something significant. I don't know if it's as big as a battle. It's something of importance for
It's pride.
just yeah, you know.
Respect.
Listen, Kangas and Mazel, they've been in control for far too long, and I'm thinking of starting an uprising soon. I think we need.
We need to unionize against the hosts.
That's
Seize
right.
the means of casting.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna hit up my boy Matt Magical. I know he's probably in the lab concocting something. We need to concoct a plan to become
True.
the host one of these
True.
days. That's
Well,
all I'm
Kangas
saying.
is distracted while his sister's in town. They will never know what's coming. He's probably not even watching right now, so they will have no
Shame.
idea. Don't tell anyone, Mazel. Shh, it's our secret. We're getting into the draft, though. And we are noticing that the Trinimir is getting banned away from Leo this time. And it feels like this draft is taking a lot of things that were prioritized in the first game and kind of taking them off the table, right? The Shyvana is removed in the first half of the draft instead of the second half this time around, making sure that Griffin, in this situation where he has to play for double match point, double tournament point, he can't play his most comfortable champ.
The pony is looking quite juicy for
The
EGP.
pony.
First lock-in. There it is, baby. All right, Party Pony, all aboard the Pony Express for Evil Genius's Prodigies. One game away, remember. One game, and they solidify their advancement to the next part of the bracket, where they would face against FlyQuest Academy and No Team. Now, they need a response, and even EG Prodigies just taking away potential counter picks like the Nocturne and the Shyvana straight from the get-go.
Yeah, really like it if you know what you're going to be picking. And now that we see the Zeri going over to Scooped, let's be real. Sketch had a really big advantage and then looked okay with it. It was mostly, again, Perry and Faisal who had really big opportunities, but now another farming jungler getting picked up for Griffin at this point. This almost definitely feels like the second time that we see the Graves, and it's like, I don't even think this is going to be going over towards the solo lanes like we're more used to seeing it these days, and instead just going to be a champion that is picked up to try and out farm. But as we look at the Zeri come through, Mark, there are two ways to deal with it. Number one, you kill it. You just get on top of it and you run it down.
Yes.
The other way is you also kill it, but this time you do it from really far range. You get a bigger gun, and that's something that this Kai'Sa can definitely do. So EGP are being redundant, right? They have the Fly Swatter with Adaption going in and just undodgeable crowd control, and of course, they're also picking up this Kai'Sa, so they can both kill it from really close and kill it from far away.
And the nice thing, Josh, this Kai'Sa could be a flex pick for Leo in the mid lane. We still don't know. Sketch could pull out something later on down in the draft. I know that some of the other aggressive marksmen that is very exceptional at killing other marksmen in 1v1s are things like the Tristana, which we actually have seen some play in recent weeks.
Yeah, it was definitely something that we saw Jeremy playing earlier in one of our players that unfortunately did not make it, but a couple of his highlights were on the Tristana, just jumping on top of the Zeri and abusing Zeri's mediocre early game. But this time around, I feel like we're going to get another situation where No Team are going to try and control the game, and EGP are going to try and blow it wide open. And as Dragoon draws a couple of bans, once again, we're going to see if he has anything, if the Mordekaiser is going to be the answer, because I feel like the champion's a bit underplayed, but maybe something that I haven't really put a whole lot of time into.
The other thing that could be an option for No Team is another champion that helps creating space for this two essentially marksman backline right now. Because Griffin, if he's the one that takes the Graves, he could follow something along the lines of what Trickster did in game 1 of their series just earlier, where it's the Eclipse build. You're trying to look for a flank and look to assassinate someone. But if you go the Lifesteal build, then you are essentially just another marksman looking to just try and kite your way and be one of the last members standing. And in order to do that successfully, you need more of your team members who are, you know, creating that space for you. And you could do that still through the mid and top lane for these last two picks.
But we also have to note that at least one of them has to blind pick. And last game we saw that Blaze ended up blind picking the Syndra and got kind of blown up by the Trinity. Now the Trinity is off the table this time, so it's a little bit safer, but as the Rise is going to be the answer this time, you are going to be putting yourself into a spot where there are plenty of counter picks to the Rise, and with all the short range coming through from the side of No Team, I feel like it's very punishable by whoever ends up playing this Kai'Sa.
EG Prodigies, what is your answer? Do you send the Kaisa into the Rise, or do you give something else for Mr. Leo in the mid lane? It looks like they want to match Control Mage for Control Mage. The Orion is the lock-in, and, you know, of course, this is nice follow-up engage with the Shockwave. And now you not only have one, but you have two ball carriers in both the Hecarim and the Camille.
And you have a lot of ways to get to Zeri now. We can see it from Daption, we can see it from Parry, we can see it from Faisal, and they can all look to go in and blow up one character. Now, one of the things that Renata is very good at is preventing that one person from dying, but it needs Jishuko to play further back than Scoop. He needs to be in a spot where he can throw it down, and let's go. It is the Mordekaiser coming through for Dragoon. This matchup is pretty okay for both sides of the map. It is definitely a bit of a skill matchup, and as they try and dance around each other, we'll get to see how well Faisal is actually able to dodge all the isolated Qs that'll be coming out from Dragoon, especially in the Death Realm.
Yeah, and Dragoon on this pick, not only it's one of his other main comfort picks over the course of his amateur career, but the other thing about this champion, this kind of warps the game for many traditional squads, because now whenever you're in a split push situation and you're trying to send resources to deal with him, Dragoon, if it's past level 6, he's like, haha, it's still a 1v1, dude.
Stupid.
I'm gonna send someone to the Death Realm, and then he isolates that person, and depending on who's left to stand, it might not be enough to still take down Dragoon. The other implications, Joss, is that you can walk with Dragoon to an objective point, and if the jungler's trying to walk up and try to contest the objective, Death Realm. Now they can't smite.
Death Realm. Yeah. So one of the things about Mordekaiser, though, is it is very attackable early on in the game. And while we didn't see a whole lot of pressure coming out from either jungler towards the top side, now Dragoon has just painted a target on his back. If this Mordekaiser falls behind, the only thing that it really does is, one, show us that we're a replay of ourselves, but also that there's going to be opportunities to try and get that ult onto Parry later on. And if Mordekaiser isn't strong enough to stay alive during that entire sequence, it makes his ultimate so much less valuable that the rest of EGP should be ready to go for a fight.
All right, just an update for everyone at home. We have an immediate pause at the beginning of the game, so we just want to make sure that everything is right and
Pause
dandy.
casting.
Yeah, it is the pause casting time. You know, me and Josh's favorite time. Maybe not the audience's favorite time, but you know what? It's okay. It happens.
Okay. It's the chilling.
It's piss chilling. I hope you enjoy the vibes.
The vibes. Yeah. I mean, there's an interesting thing coming through for, again, like we were touching on Griffin, a very, very young player, very promising thus far.
Oh,
and
the ghost.
Yeah, the ghost, he is going to be looking for opportunities to just run away from Parry. Make sure that he can keep a lot of distance between him and a bunch of other players. Ooh, we are finally getting a confirmation, not R. The double negation there means that not is, in fact, not ready. But the ghost is a very interesting thing. We would see it come out quite a bit on top lane Graves as like a secondary summoner spell, especially in the Trendier matchup, so you can keep away from a lot of people. But I'm a little bit curious how it's going to be playing out here, just because I don't know how easy it's going to be to escape from things like the Hextech Ultimatum or the Onslaught of Shadows, or again, like Daption's Depth Charge. Like, all of these things are going to be still able to find Griffin if they are used on the Graves, and the lack of ability to reposition feels a little bit scary to me.
No flash either means that if you are on cooldown for your grit dash, then how do you get out over walls? You know?
Bam. And you fly back.
The collateral damage, I don't think, pushes you all the way over a wall. Maybe if the
Depends on the
wall's
wall.
thin enough. Yeah, it has to be super thin, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's still important tech as we load onto the Rift for potentially the last time today, and potentially the last time of a proving ground powered by Verizon for No Team. And as they load in, again, pay attention to where Dragoon, or how much attention Dragoon gets early on in the game. As we see, it looks like the same level 1 strategy coming out from Griffin as we saw Parry do last game.
Griffin also trying to see if they can find Leo this time. As you already explained, that Blaze had not so quite a warm welcome from EGP in game 1, Blaze didn't
True.
have to burn any sums or go down, but, you know, it was just a little donation of orbs over for Perry's transformation on the Kane. But this time, he's a big pony, so he doesn't need to transform. He just gets tank items with this phase rush build, and he is mostly primary initiation for this squad.
Yeah. Interesting coming out from Daption, right? Just making sure that they get some idea of where the enemy jungler is. And Perry's starting up with the Wolves, right? Another non-buff start coming out for EGP's jungler, trying to kind of power farm a little bit more quickly than a lot of other junglers. And he should be able to keep in a pretty decent spot relative to the Graves early on in the game. But it does mean that Faisal up here in the top lane will have a bit more freedom to do what he wants.
Okay, Daption just pulling in Jashuka, looking for, you know, a more aggressive handshake than the one that Jashuka can normally put out. See what I did there?
Got him. Gotta just bail himself out with the handshake. Now the battle for level 2 begins as we see Daption blowing both of the relic shields to go forward, and they will be getting level 2 first, and that's why you see Scooped and Jashuka backing up. It is kind of a counting exercise and just understanding like how many opportunities there are to go forward, but Faisal doing a good job. There's not a whole lot that early level. Oh,
yo, that is a max range stretch line. The ignite, heals ticking low. Scoop is trying to lifesteal off of it. Oh, he hits level 2, and Jashuka even getting a little bit of the extra healing thanks to the minion execute as well. That was so close to first blood.
That was incredibly close, and that's going to be putting Scooped in a really awkward position where they cannot prevent this wave from crashing, and they're going to be taking a lot of missed experience in that last little bit. So it is a really good heads-up play from Daption to try and take that through, and we'll see how effectively they're going to be able to punish the lack of flash. There are now 2 players with targets on their back prepared to try and attack.
No sums there means it's a very juicy target for a certain Horsey to come stampeding right on through, even without the onslaught of shadows. You just need Scoop to push on through, or if you're crashing a huge wave and he's very low on HP, that should be an easy dive. But neither condition fit the case. Perry just says, yo, Daption, can you help me out?
Can you hit this? Yeah. So it is going to be a small CS lead coming through for Sketch, right? And the big thing that we always have to pay attention to with Kai'Sa is, one, you know, are they going to go with AP as they usually do, or are they going to try and do something a bit different? And 2, how effectively are they going to find a lead so that they can ignore a lot of the mid game when Kai'Sa is not super impressive? And Sketch finding that early lead is going to put themselves in a pretty okay position for the upcoming mid game, where they are not going to be behind for any of these upcoming plays.
Griffin did spot Perry before he dipped into the brush, so both top laners are aware that there are junglers afoot. However, Griffin might operate under the information that he has not been spotted. And so it's always this information gap of like, okay, who thinks who is getting the jump on the other player?
It's me.
Well,
Griffin.
Wow. I mean, Perry knew that Griffin was there, but underestimated the amount of damage that would be coming through the shotgun. And Griffin says, yeah, bet. Let's find out right now. And Perry's forced away.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shopping diff, right? Perry ends up taking a little bit more damage because he doesn't react instantly. And, you know, to their credit, it is going to be a ghost trade between the 2 junglers, which significantly reduces Perry's potential aggressive opportunities as a Daption a little bit sad over the wall. But the biggest thing here is that Perry's kind of been stifled early on, and while the champion definitely has plenty of opportunities to be relevant later, it feels like a lot of the potential early playmaking that can come out from the EGP side is coming to a bit of nothing.
And Perry is looking for camps to steal away, but because of how Griffin had path from top to bottom, there's no camps for him to take off of respawn. Timers are not quite up yet, and so Griffin is just cycling over most of the topside camps and coming back to pick up the camps that will be spawning just in time for him. So Perry now finally getting a chance to spend his money, might be able to, or might be in a better spot and better equipped to fight these skirmishes early on.
Yeah. I mean, he should be okay, but they have now missed their window to really try and attack Faisal, as he is level 6 now, and as our observers are pointing out, there's a lot of vision put down to make sure that Perry cannot really be top lane without no team knowing about it. And eventually, this matchup will return to Camille's favor, but for now, it's just a lot of base stats coming out from Dragoon. He's already got the Blasting Wand and extra Ruby Crystal, so he can take a lot of these duels and deal a ton of damage. But for now, it is going to be very Dragoon favor for a little while until Faisal completes an item.
I just want to say, I'm a fan of the quick pans that we've been having from the observing team. It feels tonally different than some of the others observing around the world, so props to them. And as they have captured No Team, because of all the pressure they've been having to push Perry out of their side of the map, Griffin gets a free chance to knock down the first dragon of the game. Nothing to, really claim home victory about, but it is a step forward as Faisal and Perry now making their move towards the top side of the map. You gotta be careful. Dragoon has Death Realm available, so that 2v1 will turn back into a 1v1.
Yeah, Perry going to be going for this red buff, but I think he's a little bit too slow. He spots Griffin, but this is going to be a contested smite.
And Griffin says, hold up, where's my red buff? Yeah, you can't take this. This is my stuff. Now, Faisal's coming in with a hook shot. Can they burst him out before Dragoon makes the entrance here? But the blast cone separates the members of EGP from being able to lock down Griffin, and first blood goes over to No Team.
There you go, good stuff, but Leo's not done. He wants to still find more. No flash.
Shockwave is available. Flash from Faisal connecting the hook shot. Gets the stun down, and yes, they lost their jungler, but they equalize in the end.
Good stuff coming out from Leo to rotate after shoving in the wave to make sure that the play was not all for nothing. And we see that the game still remains very even after all of these plays, after a little bit of chaos coming through. And EGP, they do get the first rotation, but unfortunately the Realm Warp just allows Blaze to get here so quickly. And oh my god, was that Perry that actually hit the blast cone?
Oh, that's so unfortunate then.
Yeah. I mean, good job from Griffin. That is not an easy wall to jump over. You got to be very precise with that dash.
EGP thought that they were able to isolate Griffin away from his reinforcements and his friends, but in the end, it is equalized. So EGP 1-for-1 overall. The gold lead still not necessarily in any team's strong favor. It's just a 400 gold difference. Daption getting interrupted on the exit, looking for that dredge line. Ignite going down into the sketch, forcing the flash out of both sketch and Daption. Scooped and Jashuka getting the upper hand in this 2v2.
Yeah, I mean, good stuff coming through. This is kind of what we were expecting, right? The lethality coming through from Sketch is in large part just to make this part of the game less miserable, but that doesn't make it particularly good. It's only really powerful if you get that isolated Q onto like 1 or 2 targets and they take the full brunt of it, but it's not going to be something where Daption and Sketch should be super able to go for things, but they go for it anyway, and here's Perry.
Daption with the Hex Flash over the wall. Sketch has the killer instinct. They get the last killing mark down. Bailout from Jashuka. Cannot save Scooped. Perry's going to chase Jashuka all the way onto the tower, but doesn't have enough damage to follow through. But at least the 1-for-1 is equalized, but Griffin is here. Even though he has the collateral damage, he might not even need it. He just takes him down with auto attacks, and now Sketch has to be on the run, is already retreated to the safety of his tower, but Griffin equalizing in the end, huge for No Team.
And it feels like these junglers are tracking each other really well so far. We're seeing that when Perry goes in, it's just matched by Griffin. And now, once again, Griffin matches what the EGP jungler is going to be doing. He just drops what he's doing over at the Wolves and immediately starts running down towards the rest of the fight because he thinks that he might be able to catch somebody on the backside, recognizing that Perry has taken too much damage. He's able to get here and just run him down, like you said, not even committing the ultimate because there's no way for Perry to escape.
The rest of No Team starting to rally behind Griffin's burst of a lead now on this Graves. Eclipse fully completed. He hasn't used the collateral damage quite yet this game, so he is ready to... What's up?
Did you see the entire screen just go like dark for a second? I saw it because I see it on our secondary feed as well. It's not just me. Yeah,
okay, I just saw it too. That was weird.
Yeah.
Maybe the game was coded to think, oh god, we're entering the Death Realm now.
They're both in Fog of War.
Dun, dun, dun.
They can't see each other. Anyway, sorry, I totally interrupted you. What were you saying?
You're good. Just for No Team, just rallying behind Griffin. He is the one that has a huge lead right now. Clips completed. He's already looking to make a move onto the bottom lane. Sketch isn't here to be punished quite yet, but they're just looking for the Rift Herald crash, funneling as much gold as they can onto Scooped as well. They lock up Griffin. He doesn't have Flash or Ghost, but he's got enough damage to take him out, but this shutdown will go over to Sketch. Jashuka going golden. The rest of No Team have been separated from their comrades. Blaze on the run, trying to flash away. Scoop just keeping them at a distance thanks to the burst fire, and the Rift Herald does not quite take out the turret quite yet here. Scoop just needs one more on attack. Shockwave, huge from Leo. Sketch takes it out, and yes, the turret will go down, but that's 2 kills over to EGP.
Yo, he still had the shockwave at the end of that fight. That's crazy. Presence of mind coming through for Leo. Recognizing there was no big opportunities to use it before the actual fight means that this fight ends up being relatively even. And the big thing comes through here. It just feels like EGP are a little bit more coordinated. They have a very straightforward idea of, oh yeah, we're just going to fight. They locked down Griffin initially, and No Team very clear is like, well, where do we run? What do we do after this? And Leo is able to just step up and create a lot of pressure. And honestly, if you're in this game, most people are just going to assume, like, yeah, there's no shockwave left. I am totally A-okay. And Leo's like, aha, surprise! Got you. Caught you slipping.
That's usually the moment where we've been in those shoes before, where we just witness a bunch of spells coming out, and we're just like, oh, yeah. Yeah, shockwave is down, right? And then it comes out, and you just hear in comms go, oh.
Oh. Dude, that is my absolute favorite, is somebody's like, oh, they don't have flash, and then the other person immediately flashes. Oh, Perry.
Now, Perry, hold up. He's in the death round right now. He can't escape. He just got burned down to a crisp by Dragoon. Had no way out of that one. Daption was trying to come in for the reinforcements, but can't save his fellow horse friend if he is in another dimension. That Dragoon is the only one that holds the key to.
Yeah, true. Dragoon is, you know, starting to look a little bit better, right? He's been able to find that kill and equalize from what Faisal was able to do previously, as both supports go for the hook.
Adaption landing it onto Jashuka, but the hostile takeover is going to delay some time, and it might be enough that Jashuka runs right back into the jungle, gets movement speed thanks to the cloud map, and Leo has been cut off, this time by Griffin. Now, the rest of No Team. Yeah, dude, I thought he ran so fast and dashed so quickly through him. I did a double take because I was like, I know he's lethality, but I swear I saw this guy built Eclipse and not Prowler's Claw, because I thought I saw Prowler's Claw dash. It just happened. That would have been nuts.
That would have been something else, yeah. But this game still remains very even as we kind of wait for the game to kind of break open, right? Both teams have a lot of scaling elements. There's lots of opportunities for both of them to take these big team fights, but Griffin is looking to kind of be gapping Perry so far this time. He's counter-ganked multiple times, and he's always looking for opportunities to prevent Perry from doing much of anything. He's got the CS lead, he's got 3 kills, and he looks to be building a Black Cleaver, so he's going to be very strong. And the thing that's bad for Perry is he has to constantly respect the fact that he's not going to be able to go for these 50-50 smites because Dragoon's in the game.
He's just not that tanky enough either to withstand a full onslaught of burst coming out from No Team this early on into the game. The fact that Griffin is already well onto his second item, as you noted, the Black Cleaver coming through. Perry is still yet to finish his first item of the game. His mythic is still quite a few hundred gold ways away, and it's, you know, it's not like an expensive item in the Sunfire. It's a relatively cheaper one in the Chem Tank.
Yeah. I also want to point out, Mark, that we haven't really been talking about this a whole lot, but this is going to be the first, you know, amateur team kill, right? The first time that 2 amateur teams are going to knock each other out of this event, of Proving Grounds right now, because it's been, you know, we've seen a couple of opportunities for Academy teams to play against each other, right? CLG lost to IMT, and then Digna, and then of course the entire second round was all Academy teams. So they've beaten each other up quite a bit, but I think this is our first game between 2 amateur teams.
Especially in the
entire bracket.
You're right. Every amateur team in the upper bracket has at least gone up against an Academy team. That's crazy.
Yeah, so this is the first time where one of the amateur teams will be sending the other one home, and I mean, we just saw a big upset, right? Taco Gaming took down Evil Genius's Academy, and finally putting amateur on the board. It feels a little bit rough for the amateur teams because they are now fighting for the opportunity to play up against another Academy team, because FlyQuest is waiting for them in the next round.
For No Team, remember, they're the ones that are down 1 game. EGP would just need 1 more win
look at the setup
to secure themselves against FlyQuest. No Team, while they're ahead, It doesn't mean that EGP are not going to back down without a fight. They force the stasis out of Blaze and a teleport from Dragoon. Oh, God. Yeah, there's no way out for Daption. Nice dredge line timing, though, but I don't know if he's going to have enough time to withstand the Death Realm. And all of his friends, unfortunately, knew that he was a goner. Daption's gone. And for no team, they're able to withstand once again.
Faisal looking to try and equalize something on the far side of the map, but Griffin is so strong at this point. Oh, he's going for it anyway.
Oh, that was a lot of damage from the tactical precision protocol, though. And here comes Perry, right stampeding on through. Perry says, yoink! All me, by the way. I'll take that kill. Leo might be in trouble, though. Looking for the movement speed. Blaze flashing forward, locks him down with the root. And it's not enough damage from Leo to answer back. Blaze cleans it up.
Nice try with the shockwave, but gotta go for that instant flash as soon as you see Rise go for it. So it is going to be a bit of a trade across the map, but we are slowly seeing No Team take a bit more control. They've been a bit more patient throughout the game. They've been more consistent with their setups, and crucially, they're countering every play. They're blocking every attempt at a spike coming through for EGP, and now they're going to be in a spot where they are back on the map all at the same time. They're going to be able to walk down, take control of mid priority, and look to walk over towards the Dragon. And as they do that, it's going to be very difficult for EGP to try and set up. This Kai'Sa is still not fully online.
Yeah, big thing to note, though, for EGP, when we look at Game 1 versus Game 2 performance overall, Leo has been, picked off a couple times. No Team putting a lot more focus onto the mid laner this time around, as well as Perry not having that great start as we saw from the Kayn in Game 1, but Sketch and Faisal still remaining deathless so far. I think you're looking to them for EGP to really turn up in these fights.
Yeah, I mean, Faisal will have plenty of opportunities to be aggressive, but he doesn't have the ultimate just quite yet, and they still have control of the actual Dragon. So as long as Dragoon doesn't get in, Perry should be able to smite this relatively cleanly, and No Team will end up giving it up, putting them at least 5 minutes further away from a potential soul. The Scoop, very aggressive here, taking a bit of a chunk right on back.
The Rift Herald will make its crash. No Team potentially not necessarily needing it, but it just guarantees that the tier 1 turret will fall. Perry waiting in the wings, seeing if No Team will overextend, but it's just to guarantee a second crash from the Rift Herald. Doesn't take out the second tier turret quite yet, and now No Team see a bunch of camps, and it's time to litter and take all the scraps away from EGP.
Yeah. So as I'm watching this, Mark, the thing that I'm thinking about is I did, again, if you were watching during the breaks, I did an interview with Doxa for Pro Review over the weekend. And one of the things that he was saying was... Oh.
Whoa! Sketch wants to take the 1v1, tries to flash. Oh, no! I could see the angle, and I respect the attempt, but Scooped is the one that gets out alive. Both summoners were burned in that one as well. Realm Warp is coming in. Perry might have just launched himself into a 1v3, but he has the movement speed thanks to Phase Rush to get out alive. Oh man, no. That could have been so good for EGP, but Scooped is...
Why do they go like right before I'm about to talk about them? Right, I was about to say like Doxa was like, we are down 6,000 gold, but I am Kai'Sa and I win this game because there are no threats against me. I feel like this is another situation where if Sketch can get to 2, 3, 4 completed items, there's nobody that can really do anything about his poke from such a long way away. The engage coming out from No Team is not that strong, and as long as EGP are able to protect him and just allow Sketch to find a defensive pocket, I feel like they can still take total control of this game, but you gotta make sure you aren't overextending before then. Sketch was so sure he had that last play and ends up giving over a shutdown in the worst possible manner.
Yeah, for Griffin, too, I think it was the one that picked it up, or Blaze, one of those two people, and if you are EGP, yeah, it's both pretty bad, right? Griffin already well accelerated thanks to the early game skirmishes that he had were successful, but also Blaze, now both of them on 2 item power spikes alongside Scoot, who, yes, doesn't have a single kill, but he has been farming relatively well, and he's been involved for almost half of the fights, and it has allowed him to be at a very powerful spot. And now look at this. Unfortunately for No Team, they have been spotted out because of that one ward spawning out Blaze, throwing spells in an area that is fogged with war, but you as EGP can deduce that they are doing the Baron.
Well, they're going to be going for it. Perry takes a lot of damage.
It wasn't in the Death Realm quite yet, so Dragoon still has that available for him, unless that was just the Death Realm right now. Perry looking for the looped around, has onside of Shadows, 2,000 HP. Dragoon trying to mark it, but they're trying to wait out the Baron time right now. Jashuka's been cut off. This is looking to be a disaster for No Team.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
It's huge. It catches all the members of No Team, but they have to clean it up against Dragoon. Sketch is still alive, finds the triple, but Leo and Sketch will now walk away. They don't want to take any gambles against Dragoon's Mordekaiser.
Yo, I'm getting flashbacks to game one, Mark. Just watching him go for that play, watching No Team line up for the Dragon or for the Baron, and then just getting slaughtered by the AoE that comes out from Evil Genius's Prodigies just makes this so scary, right? They just line up in such a way that everybody just gets hit at exactly the same time. Shockwave finds all 4 members all at once, and the only thing that keeps this fight even kind of close is the fact that Dragoon gets to reset, get all the bonus stats off of taking down Faisal.
And just like that, we are still not tied in gold advantage, but the momentum sure feels like it swung back into an even state for both of these teams. Because like
this is so similar to No Team versus Taco Gaming during, I think it was semifinals, or maybe it was finals, when Doxa, again, that team's down 6,000 gold, but he had 6 kills, and he's like, don't worry, I carry this every time. Sketch is down only 3,000 gold, but he has 6 kills on the Kaisa now as well. And this is the confidence that we're going to need to see coming out from Sketch. He overextended a little bit despite having a huge lead as the Zeri in game 1. This is his opportunity to step up and say, we win these, it's going to be on me, don't worry, I got this.
And Sketch, you know, a little bit of fun on the mid lane, but Sketch remaining undeterred and still confident to go forward for these plays is the one that cleans up the massive plays set up by Leo. Now 6, 1, and 2 on the Kaisa is 2.5 items, almost to the holy trinity of damage for the poke Kaisa build that we have been seeing over the past couple of weeks. And Sketch can be the one that leads the forefront on damage.
See how he's able to do it. It is going to be No Team taking yet another Dragon, putting themselves 1 away from the Cloud Soul, which is very good on Mordekaiser. By the way, just having all the extra movement speed every time you ult somebody that you just chase them down makes it so much scarier every single time. But EGP will trade it for a top lane turret, so that's 2 more kills worth of gold going over to Faisal, and he has paid his taxes. He's got the QSS completed, so he's not a risk of getting ulted.
Faisal.
Okay.
Trying to wrap around with Daption. Griffin and Blaze think that they have them locked down, but it is Blaze and Griffin that get the wool pulled out on them. Oh my goodness, No Team. Griffin and Blaze thought they had the trap lying in wait, but EGP now eliminating 2 members off the field gives them a lot of control of the map.
And access to the Baron as well, right? Look at how quickly everybody is moving over. The tools are not there. The poke is not there coming out from the members of No Team. If they want to try and stop this, they have to go full on in to try and take this fight. Dragoon might be strong enough, but it's still a very terrifying proposition to try and walk into Nautilus and Orianna when they have control of the vision.
Yeah, and the big thing, Dragoon not even having Flash available to contest if he wanted to go for a crazy play. Just like Death Realm parry and then allow the rest of your team to 50-50 coin flip the Baron where there's no smite available. No Team just take the safer route, concede the Baron, and we'll set up for the next play on the map.
And just like that, Mark, we're back to even. These 2 teams, I knew it was going to be super close between them. I expected it was going to be 2-1 going in favor of No Team, but I expected every single game to be a fighting game. Every single time they're going to have opportunities back and forth, and that is exactly what we're seeing. Look at how much gold is currently, how even it is between almost every single lane at this point. There's no huge leads one way or another. I think Griffin might be the one with the largest individual lead. Yeah, but at the same time, Faisal about the same lead over Dragoon as Griffin has over Perry.
Yeah, Faisal is quite in a huge state. The Divine Sunder and the Ravenous Hydra makes him such a adept split pusher at this stage of the game that yes, Dragoon, very fit, very capable of taking many champions in the 1v1. Faisal might be the one, and not only thanks to the QSS getting him instantly out of the Death Realm once he's gone, but then the other fact is that so much sustain comes through that if Dragoon doesn't have Ignite, Faisal should be able to win those 1v1s now.
We'll see what they end up doing as they continue to push forward, right? With this Baron buff, EGP are in control. If they can get a large enough gold lead, now they go for Blaze.
Daption wastes no time whatsoever. Instant pulls the trigger onto Blaze, sends him back to the fountain. Griffin will be the next one to fall, trying to life steal it up as much as he can. Faisal sailing over the wall, the bailout, but he buys time thanks to the X-Tech ultimatum. Trades his life out in the end. Sketch drops low, and suddenly it is no team that remains victorious and will defend their base.
Again, though, going too far forward, Sketchstream tries to find his way in and gets ulted by Dragoon. Dragoon still fighting the primary target that he needs to during this last fight. And just watch how much EGP try and go for this play. Leo ends up getting butchered off on the side, and because their backline isn't cohesive, because the dive isn't all in the same place, and after they get the first target, they don't know where to go after, no team able to clean up.
It's just such a huge moment for no team. It definitely seemed like...
We're back to even.
How does this keep happening,
Again.
Josh?
These two teams are trying to find their way in. They just can't find something that'll break the game open, and they're trying so hard, right? No team went for the Baron, got punished for it. They tried to find a play bottom lane and got really punished. That gave EGP their first lead. Then EGP are like, okay, let's try and blow this game open by killing Blaze. But they overextended there, and so both teams are, I mean, again, they're going for fights. It's not like they are just letting this game stall out. They're both trying to make things happen. They're just better at responding to the plays that their opponents are making than they are at creating their own advantages.
Something. I wanted to make a Sun Tzu Art of War quote, but I feel like you're better at doing that than I am on the fly.
It's okay, you can just copy Soldier from TF2. If fighting is sure to result in victory, you must fight. Sun Tzu said that. I think he knows a little bit more about fighting than you do, pal, because he invented it.
This is true. The point I was trying to get at is just trying to really ring in truth of how the teams that are forcing the fights usually find
that's
themselves
so
on the
scary.
back foot. Because like this, you go for the play, but it's Leo with the shockwave that turns it around. A hostile takeover will force Dapson and Leo to fight each other to the bitter end, but Faisal still on the charge. Sketch needs to be able to get in there and do damage, but he finds Blaze. Golden stasis will prevent some time. Voidseeker doesn't find his mark quite yet. Sketch still just looking for a way out. Daption might have to give his life. So he is routed off, but they are playing a fine dance here between life and death. A teleport is coming in. Reinforcements are on the way from Leo. No shockwave available still, but it's coming off cooldown if they can buy enough time. Jashuka is the one that routes him off, and it's Soul that is on the line. Griffin is nowhere near the dragon. He's just gonna flashing forward. Killer Instinct. Not still available. Sketch finally goes for it. Gets Jashuka, but the bailout is going to give him a second life before he eventually goes down once again. Sketch has to be careful. He's trying to join his comrades into the fight. Looks for Scooped. Cleans up Scooped. And Leo now chasing off Blaze. The Voidseeker is not going to hit its mark. But at the end, no team, despite how many casualties they suffered, they are the ones that secure the Cloud Soul.
Oh my gosh, and now Blaze is going to be running away. We get to see hints of brilliance from both teams. I'm shocked that no team didn't lose that harder than they did because they were right in front of Leo, who got them with the shockwave. But ultimately, it ends up being a basically even game again. The Cloud Soul, one of Dragoon's best souls in this game that he could possibly ask for, is now on the table. But it's still a situation where, watch this, look how aggressive this is, like right into a shockwave. It's one of the most dangerous things you can do. And with Dragoon instantly going down in a massive shutdown, it's very surprising that there's not a whole lot more play from EGP. But they try and find a big fight, and they go too far forward. When the answer, my friends, was patience. You just needed to take control of the dragon. You can't afford to try and charge into Scoop if you don't have enough crowd control to lock down this area.
X-Tech Ultimatum was good for a moment, but all the damage dealers need to be in range to follow up on the re-engage. No matter how good it is, no matter how many members you initially took out in the response attack that EGP mounted off of the back of that Realm War.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I was really impressed at in this last fight was the fact that Sketch recognized that I cannot fight Griffin one-on-one. I need to back up and go fight Scooped instead. And he just ran away from Griffin. And that's something that I think is really underrated, recognizing that I can't fight this, so let's go the other direction instead. My only way out is forward. And he ends up in a spot where he is still 7, 2, and 6 on this Kai'Sa. He's got the tools necessary to prevent no team from going for these engages. He just needs to be landing the Void Seekers.
One might call that ability threat assessment, Josh.
Threat assessment, crazy.
It's a very undervalued skill in amateur, but those who show that are already one step ahead of other players. Because some might just go in and just try to kill everything they see.
Go over. Hold on.
Baron. It's burning down 6,000 HP. Perry can't get in. Dragoon has already ulted him into the Death Realm. No one can contest the Baron. It is secured by no team. Shockwave trying to follow up onto the main backline, but hostile takeover buys time for no team to completely take out EGP members one by one. Faisal and Perry, the last member standing. And there is a tower, an inhibitor, and 2 more Nexus towers standing in between no team and the end of the game. Faisal is trying to see if he can stall as long as he can. Perry is catching the wave as well. And Faisal getting this wave, they will prevent the inhibitor towers from falling.
Yeah, the game shouldn't end here, but it's still a huge win coming out from No Team. They recognize that people are on the wrong side, and No Team are trying to end, and Jishuka will stay alive. Not!
Oh my god! Oh yeah, hook shot should allow him to get in range here. And the inhibitor is going to fall. Perry's the only one that has been able to back, but he's got to sustain all the way up. I take that back. This maybe could be the end of the game because Faisal hasn't been able to return back to the battlefield. No team! They will just stampede right on through. We're going to game 3, Josh.
6 games in a proving grounds day? Tell me it isn't so. Tell me it isn't so. We're back at a spot where we get to see the maximum number of games in a single day. That game was absolutely crazy. Back and forth, everybody trying to make things happen, and there was just one mistake really coming through from Faisal. He was on the wrong side of the map, and it just gives the Baron over to No Team and the game immediately afterwards.
I didn't expect them to just be able to end the game off like that. I was completely flabbergasted. Where I was like, okay, you know what? They cut off the wave. They're fine. And then No Team were like, stupid casters.
We got you.
Realm
Don't worry
Warp.
about it.
Boom. Just bring the minions closer. And it also just great stuff from Jishuka that just completely stopped Faisal from being able to recall. And oh my god, Josh. This is so intense.
It is. I mean, we knew this was going to be close. We knew every game was going to be fighting. We've seen that from both Game 1 and Game 2, and now we get a Game 3 out of it.
You can tell that me and Josh are completely at a loss for words. And much like the players definitely need a break, we are going to be recharging as well. But on the flip side, when we come back, it is our last post-game segment of the day with Mazel and the... Not quite yet. Hold up.
Not quite yet. Hold it.
Hold on, Josh. Okay. All right. We can now send it over to a break. When we come back, post-game segment with Mazel and conclusion of the series between No Team and Evil Geniuses Prodigies.